I challenged my viewers, how many levels can you gain on RuneScape in 1 hour, except XP rates are times 20 or 2000%. The winner gets 1 billion GP. This is how I set up the challenge. It's hosted on the World 45 Deadman Mode server, and it starts at the beginning of Tutorial Island when you talk to Skippy and select a teleport location to the mainland. We haven't had Deadman Mode in a while, so let me refresh you. Things are a little bit different in this server. For every fresh account, some quests are pre-completed. And like I said before, XP rates are much higher than normal. They start at times 20 and scale down as you gain levels. Here's a quick example. Chopping 1 tree gets you from 1 to 5 woodcutting. Chopping 6 trees gets you up to 16 woodcutting for oak logs. Just from the base starter runes you get from Tutorial Island, you can get up to 15 magic. Contestants don't need to worry about being PK'd in the Deadman Mode server because every fresh account has 12 hours of protection. The only other rule is no help from any alt accounts or any other players in the game. The winner gets 1 billion GP in the main game. And unfortunately, I'm not rich on RuneScape, so I had to buy a lot of bonds to fund the prize for the winner of this challenge. And I couldn't do it without the sponsor of today's video. Thanks to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. Raid Shadow Legends has taken over the gaming community. Raid is the first game to bring a true console level experience to your phone with millions of champion combinations, countless tactics to take on raid bosses, and so much more. Raid is celebrating its 2-year anniversary. It started small but has absolutely blown up. It's now the #1 RPG in the US with over 70 million downloads, 1 million active players a day, and 2 billion live battles. The game also has a massive friendly community. Because of Raid's 2 years anniversary, there's going to be a load of anniversary events and tournaments going on right now. You might even be able to get involved in the very first ever clan versus clan tournament and get a chance to compete directly against another clan. Raid also just released the first batch of the Badass Shadowkin faction, a brand new Asian-inspired faction that you should totally check out. On top of that, they've got some huge updates coming later in the month, including a new Doom Tower rotation with 2 tough new bosses. My personal favorite part of the game has gotta be summoning new champions. Pretty epic. So if you want to get a huge head start in Raid, all you have to do is hit the link in the description or scan my QR code and you'll get your free epic champion Joden, who's amazing for the Doom Tower, 100k silver, 50 germs, and 3 ancient shards so you can summon awesome champions as soon as you get in game. You can do that by just clicking the treasure chest in the top right corner of your screen. Let's get right into the challenge. I had about 50 submissions, but I'm only going to show you the top 2 competitors because obviously a lot of the runs are similar. Watch them go head to head to see who wins 1 billion GP. Cape 6 is getting ready to start off his run on Tutorial Island. Just like I suspected, he chooses Gnome Stronghold. I think just about everyone competing today is going to choose Gnome Stronghold. That's because of the agility course there that only requires 1 agility, so it's a very quick way to start off with some agility levels. After just a couple laps, he gets 17 agility, obviously because we're at such a high XP rate. He's actually able to use that spirit tree to go back to the Grand Exchange because some quests are actually auto-completed on this server when you first start out. As you can see, he's getting so much XP just from running past NPCs and splashing on them. He grabs 2k from the security stronghold and then starts continuing back east towards Varrock. Just like he did with the mage spells, he's going to be ranging mobs as he passes. On the way east, he picks up 150 bronze arrows from the range shop. He actually stops at the attack dummy here, and every single click he's getting about 100 attack XP. You can only gain a few levels on that dummy before it stops giving you XP though. Cape 6 heads north and in less than 3 minutes completes the museum exercise for 1000 XP in Slayer and Hunter. He then suicides on a guard, which actually takes a lot longer than I would expect. He then heads west to Draenor Village to do 1 lap of the agility course over there, getting him 21 agility. He actually picked up a log in Lumbridge Castle before he headed over here, and now I know why. He's gonna use a fletching tick manipulation to chop logs. Then he picks up an event RPG on his way to Port Sarim and continues using tick manipulation to cut down trees. As he runs, he fletches those logs and then also starts splashing on seagulls as he goes by. So far, this run is all about getting XP while you move across the RuneScape map. Cape 6 then boards the boat over to Zaya and heads for one of the mines near the port. The submit starts off his run going to the Gnome Stronghold, obviously to do some agility. He gets all the way up to 20 agility and then teleports over to Lumbridge where he starts pickpocketing men. He pickpockets men until he seems to purposefully die to them. I'm pretty sure this has to do with his overarching strategy because he has to go all the way through Death's dialogue. He wouldn't have died otherwise, wasting that time. But he picks up his items again, and as he runs by goblins in Lumbridge, he starts splashing them to get that magic XP. Since he got 20 agility in the beginning, he can go through the Al-Carrot agility course. He just does 1 lap to get up to 24 agility agility. Right next door to the agility course is the entrance to the sorceress's garden, which the submit enters. He completes a run through the sorceress's garden, which gives him 1000 farming experience. I didn't think of this strategy before this challenge at all. In just a couple minutes, he's done a couple more laps and gets all the way up to 16 farming. He's gonna head nearby to the Shantae Pass to buy bronze bars and then suicide and go back to Lumbridge, where he starts pickpocketing men again to gain GP so that he can buy a steel axe from the Bob's Axe shop in Lumbridge. With that steel axe, in just about 2.5 minutes, he gets all the way up to 27 woodcutting and starts burning those logs for fire making experience. So far, every location in this run is perfectly planned out, and this is no exception. The submit takes the canoe over to Edgeville, where he's gonna get his 10k from the security stronghold. He then suicides to a nearby shade, and now it makes sense why he went through Death's dialogue and died in Lumbridge. Since the gravestone timer hasn't run out, even though he died in the security stronghold, when he spawns back in Lumbridge, his items also spawn at his gravestone in Lumbridge. So whenever he purposefully dies to get back to Lumbridge, he can also collect all of his items from his inventory. We're at the mine with Cluecape 6, and he's gonna use that same fletching tick manipulation to start mining copper ore. It doesn't take long to get to 15 mining, and all of a sudden Cluecape 6 starts attacking rats nearby. He's in multi-combat, so both rats can attack him at the same time, and this is an even faster tick manipulation method for iron ore. Even though he's only 15 mining with a bronze pickaxe, as you can see, he's getting that iron ore incredibly quickly because the rats are attacking him. I'm not a big skiller and can't do much tick manipulation, so this is pretty impressive to me. It takes him about 90 seconds to get from 15 to 26 mining, which is when he starts heading out. He's still on Zaya, but heads over to a fishing spot nearby, still multi-combat, and there are still rats around. It takes him a little while to figure out the exact positioning he wants for those rats, but then he starts fishing, again tick manipulating with the rats' attacks. You might not be able to tell without a side-by-side comparison, but using this tick manipulation method greatly speeds up the time it takes to catch those shrimp. In 2 minutes, he goes from 1 to 27 fishing. If you haven't gotten the point already, Cluecape 6 is great at using tick manipulation to get faster XP rates. He heads over to a cooking spot nearby and drops all the fish, and by picking them up and cooking them, he can easily tick manipulate cooking as well, all the way up to 26 cooking in about 60 seconds. He fishes another inventory and goes back to cook it again, and look at that cooking XP flying in. Cluecape 6 is then gonna head over to the baker's stall, still on Zaya, and does some good old-fashioned skilling the way I know how to do it. Spam clicking. It looks like the submit starts heading over to Alcarid from Lumbridge, and on the way he collects half an inventory of oak logs. He's then gonna head a little bit east and take the gnome glider near the lumber yard in Varrock. Again, he can do that because some quests are pre-completed on this server. At the sawmill, he uses that 10k to convert those oak logs and logs into planks, and then also buy some construction supplies. Once again, suiciding on a black knight nearby. Now the submit's gonna head over to Port Sarim. On his way, he starts chopping down trees and fletching the logs into arrow shafts while he walks. His destination is the fishing shop. It looks like instead of fishing and cooking his own fish, he's just gonna buy raw sardines from the shop. That makes for a much faster cooking experience than just catching your fish. Just like other contestants, he's dropping all of his raw fish and picking them up and cooking them to make the process go much faster. In a little bit over 2 minutes, he gets all the way to 37 cooking. The submit's gonna head west to a charter where he goes to Karamja. From a charter crew member, he's gonna buy a glass blowing pipe, buckets of sand, and some soda ash. He's gonna hop back on the charter over to our dung where he banks some of his supplies, gets out some construction supplies, and buys a house from the real estate agent there. He also purchased some feathers from the fishing shop in Port Sarim, and now he's combining those with the arrow shafts for some fletching experience. He's gonna take the charter boat back to Remington where there's a house portal. He drops a lot of the valuable stuff in his inventory right outside the house portal, and then unnotes construction supplies using files nearby, and heads into his house to start training construction. With that one inventory of supplies, he gets all the way up to 31 construction. He's then gonna head a little bit north to the Remington mine where he starts training mining. As you can see, without rat tick manipulation, it's a lot slower. Cluecape 6 heads over to a cow patch still on Zaya. It's time to start training up some of those melee stats with the event RPG. Every time he kills a cow, he buries the bones for some prayer experience and also takes the cow hides. He banks nearby and then stops off at a farming shop to buy some composts, and then the general store to buy a needle and some threads. He heads to the large farming patch nearby and uses the compost buckets on each of the patches, which actually gives 360 XP per patch. He heads back to the port and goes to Land's End where he's gonna pick up a couple bird snares. Obviously, this whole time as he travels across the map, he's cutting down trees and fletching the logs. Near Land's End, there's a copper longtail hunting spot. He starts hunting those with the bird snares while he chops oak trees and burns the logs for fire making XP as well. He's getting hunter XP, wood cutting XP, fire making XP, and burying the bones he gets from the birds for prayer XP as well. In quick succession, he gets 34 wood cutting, 30 hunter, and 36 fire making, and then heads to Lumbridge. He starts heading over to Alcarid, and while he does, he uses those feathers on the arrow shafts to create headless arrows. He visits the tanner to tan those cow hides he collected earlier and then starts crafting leather items with it. But he's not standing still while he crafts. He heads over to the Shantai Pass to buy some bronze bars. In the process of tanning and crafting all those items, he's gotten himself full leather for some extra range bonus as well. He heads back to Lumbridge and uses those bronze bars to get smithing up and smiths some bronze arrow tips in the process, which, again incredibly resourceful, he uses on the headless arrows to make bronze arrows. He gets fletching experience and then can use the bronze arrows to train up range. In the last minute or so of Clue Cape 6 run, he trains range on goblins to get those last few levels. Clue Cape 6 ends his run with a total level of 484. That's a pretty incredible run right there. We're back with the Submit in Remington Mine, and even though he's already past 15 mining, he doesn't switch to iron ore, but continues mining copper and tin. As soon as he gets a full inventory, he teleports to Lumbridge and heads to the furnace nearby. Obviously, that copper and tin ore is used to make bronze bars, and he's gonna smith them into bronze knives. He's then gonna head to the general store nearby and sell the bucket of sands and soda ashes to the general store and then buy them right back. That's a pretty smart way of unnoting cheap things. By using the furnace to smelt those into molten glass, he's getting a ton of crafting XP. Look at those XP drops, 380 XP per molten glass. With that one inventory, he gets up to 18 crafting. He's then gonna blow that glass for some more crafting experience and head over to the chickens. At this point, he has a little bit less than 18 minutes left, and he's basically all 1 combat stats except for 11 magic. The Submit dedicates the last 18 minutes to training up all of his combat stats. He starts with the event RPG on chickens while also burying bones for prayer experience, and then switches over to using those bronze knives to get range experience as well. After he gets some attack and strength levels and 15 range on the chickens, he moves over to the cows where he trains magic and defense at the same time. In the Submit's last few minutes, he rotates between magic and defense, attack, strength, and range experience all at the cows, not forgetting to bury the bones for prayer experience as well. In those last 18 minutes, he got 27 attack, 26 strength, 20 defense, 27 range, 24 prayer, and from 11 to 35 magic. The Submit ends with a total level of 494. That was a perfectly planned out run. The Submit, aka Evo Nabi, won the challenge by a few levels. Sorry if I butchered the name, but Evo Nabi is a maxed Iron Man and a very skilled RuneScape speedrunner. Congratulations. Here are the high scores of the 48 contestants in this challenge. Shout out to King Condor, he has a YouTube channel. In last place there, 87 total level, he only trained thieving the entire time. Thank you so much to the people who donated GP to go to the winner of this challenge. Special thanks to Engines and Idiots YouTube, McFruit895 on Twitch, Sut K-Cup, Doxo, F70, Vanilla Icer, and Entreyer. I'm happy to announce the next challenge, which will be due 1 week from today. How high of a max hit can you get in 1 hour starting on a fresh account? Here are the rules. No alts. You have to start on a fresh account that has made no progress, except you can start anywhere in the game. You can also start with 5 mil GP cash. You're not allowed to use raids 1 or 2 and no Soulsbane. Cannons are allowed, but the damage done by a cannon does not count towards your max hit. No damage done in a quest or with a special quest item. If you're not sure if your method is allowed, just reach out to me at sirpuggerchallengesubmission@gmail.com and I'll let you know. Good luck everyone, the winner gets 1 billion GP.